Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the June update to the overall tier list and rankings. I always love getting this video out. Myself and the rankings team, I've been calling them the MCoC Illuminati of late. That's just how smart and how highly regarded I hold them. I've put a lot of work into this. Do me and yourself and them a big favor. Go subscribe to their channels, watch their videos, get better at this game. That's what I do. I've gotten much better over the last couple of years. A lot of it from watching their channels. Now, this is all supposed to be about rank up advice. No champion is always going to be better than another champion. This game is way too big, way too complex. We did a massive update to the tier list after like 20, 21, 22 months. We did a big update last month. Gonna go ahead and update it again this month. No huge evolution though. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Oh, one more thing, the playlist spreadsheet is linked in the description. You can give links to the MCoC Illuminati channels and then also to any of the champions that you can see the link to. It'll take you to the playlist on my channel that'll have, of course, some of my videos, but also videos from other content creators in the MCoC Illuminati and not that I really respect, I think will help make your learning process that much more smooth, right? So go ahead and check that out. All right, let's jump into this. The tier above all, I have one more thing to say. I didn't even realize it. I definitely got the idea for this from Legacy. I watch his channel. I really like it. I got to know the young man being in the same BG as him there in For Loki. He's an awesome dude. And I even reached out to him. I was like, hey, dude, I didn't even realize I had done this. He calls his top tier the one above all. And I was looking for a new name for mine with the tier above all. And I told him, I was like, I didn't even mean to do this. I really am sorry. I'm happy to change it if you want. And he's like, dude, don't even sweat it. He's like, I did see it. And he's like, I don't even remember exactly what he said aside from don't even sweat it. And Legacy, thank you. And I did want to point that out, right? We get ideas from someone, whether you intentionally, copy them in a way or not. I think you should still give credit where credit is due. So thanks, Lax, for that. I really appreciate it, man. All right. So this is the absolute best. You're just so pumped if you pull them. We have no updates or changes to them. Oh, there's Cartman. Yeah, the links are very interesting. They don't always show the photo that's supposed to go with them. I think I'm gonna leave that in there. All right, let's go ahead and scroll on down. The videos themselves are accurate though. It is the accurate playlist. YouTube just really wants to show you Cartman's crack sometimes. All right, so moving on down, you can see this. No changes in the tier above all, which makes sense, right? We did the massive evolution last month. There really shouldn't be any new ones coming in. Oakland's looking really good. Hopefully you've caught my review video on him. I don't think he's tier above all though. We'll see where he eventually ends up. Now, top shelf, they just barely missed tier above all. They're awesome. Heck yeah. You've pulled them. The most common question I get as a YouTuber is, should I rank up this champion? If my reaction is just an immediate and enthusiastic, heck yeah. That's how you get in this tier, right? So we're just gonna continue to scroll on down. You can see the various emojis there. There's the legend there letting you know what those emojis mean. And I think we're gonna get down to our first two to talk about here. And Shang-Chi. Last month I talked quite a bit about Shang-Chi and how I was moving him out of the top tier. And I do think that there is a difference between Fury, Kingpin moment, and then him. I do think a lot of it though is like high skill. With Shang-Chi, you can do a tremendous amount of things. It feels like what he has though, what the game is asking us to do, he's often not like the best options. Mole Dude, Kingpin, Fury, feels like they have it all in their kit, where Shang-Chi can get it done. He can get it done exceptionally well, but it's gonna take a little bit more high of a skill from the player. So if you feel like you can really master him, I love him. I don't know if I've mastered him at that level, but I love him. He was my first rank 4. If you feel like you can do that, I do think he could be in that tier above all. But again, this is rank up advice. I know people are just gonna look at this and I want them to see like, hey, maybe there's something there. I want them to be aware of it. You really gotta know what you're doing. And as the fight goes on, it can get easy to forget which of your strikes you have used, and then you can really get yourself in trouble with him, especially if you're expecting to go unblockable or have a stun and you've already used that strike. It can be a real problem. That's not really a negative on him, but it's something I want to make sure everyone is aware of when they're looking at a list like this. Killmonger. You know, we spent months. I'm not kidding. Every time I do this, I'm going to remember how many of these we've done, but we're on like 23, 24 in there. And probably the better part of a year of putting this out and folks just being like, Killmonger's not that good. Killmonger's not that good. His damage isn't that high. And it's like, you gotta go watch the videos. DLL has been using him in war. He did a full-on guide. It's incredible. It's immense. And those comments have stopped coming. And it's been really cool. And that's one of the best things about doing a tier list is getting this information. Now, this game's so complex. There's no way everyone's going to know every champion. And if you've pulled a Killmonger and you didn't realize he was this good, now you can go and be like, hey, wait, there's something there. You can go and play him yourself and test it out. Battlegrounds is showing even more value to him, like as a defender. But, you know, I believe it was TJ on my Discord server. Guy was like perennially or like consistently in the top 10, 15, 25 rankings there in Battlegrounds. Is like, I've been using him on offense too. The damage can be good. And then now with this really cool Alliance War tactic in tier 1 and tier 2, I believe it is, we're seeing him used even more. Just, I'm so happy to see Killmonger up there. It's one of those ones where I know a lot of folks felt like he was a noodle or what have you. And I was like, no, he really isn't, guys. Like, I listen and I often take in the feedback, but on this one, I know what I'm talking about. DLL's got the proof. Go check it all out. So it's just really cool to see. Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's such an interesting one, right? In that when he first came out, he was just blowing us all away. There was talk is like, is he the best Cosmic champion? Who's the best? Hyperion, Corvus. And then along the way, champions like Hercules came in. I think a lot of us kind of forgot about Cosmic Ghost Rider, or we started talking about like no utility and all this. And I'm not looking to start that debate again, but what I will say is this. Current war, I think, is really showing what I've felt for a very long time. This doesn't sound like patting oneself on the back, and it's not intended that way. It's like his utility might not be massive, but when you've got him awakened, you create these very short openings, and his damage is immense enough that you can end the fight there. So while the list of utility might not be as lengthy and it might not be for as long of a period of time, you're able to create this window that other champions can't create, and his damage is so good, you can often just knock out and win the fight in that moment. I think a lot of it, this feels similar to Shang-Chi, where you have to learn, which I can't remember the term, your judgments you have used and not used. I happened to use him in war recently, and I had not used him in a very, very long time, at least not at a high level. And it felt a little bit like getting back on the bike again. It was coming back to me. But I will say that there was some things there, especially in regard to once I had gone through the full judgment cycle, how did I get back? Like, what do I do again? I was almost like, I need to go watch my own videos that I made a year and a half ago. He's awesome. He's a champion, very similar to Shang-Chi for me, where I think if you really know him, you really invest in him, he could be in that tier above all for you. But there's a real strong skill cap there, or skill level that's needed from the summoner and knowledge on the champion himself. But I wanted to address that. We're seeing that in current war, so it's pretty awesome. All right, moving on to Super Premium. So you asked me, should I rank this champion? And I'm like, yes, you should. Maybe with a few reservations. Want to see your roster. What is it that you're at? How does this champion help you, right? And so then we move on from there. The first one I'm talking about, Rintrah. So we're up to the first new champion. Rintrah's cool, dude. Almost made a movie spoiler. I'm not going to do that. I really like Rintrah for a couple of reasons. One is the neutralize, and the neutralize is not just when he's landing attacks like Tigra. It also has when he's getting hit. Now we're seeing Hulkling come into the game, so I'm already seeing a use for it outside of just defensive, right? As far as him just being a tougher defender. He's got the root mechanic, which I think is going to be a real pain. Playing him, for me, I didn't just pick him up and kind of start button mashing and things working out well, but I feel like as you play him a little bit more, you're gonna understand his style, and then he has the ability to do the massive damage. It's not like Sasquatch. I know he's getting compared to Sasquatch a lot for me. I don't know if his crit rate is higher, or maybe I just was so initially disappointed with Sasquatch, but Rintrah's SB2s are doing good damage, great damage, even when he doesn't crit. He's just getting opponents in the corner, doing very good things. Like I said, nice damage off that SB2, even when he doesn't crit. When he does crit, it's outrageous. And the neutralize itself, it's a really big deal. You don't get to benefit from Mystic Dispersion. Shout out to Nerd, because I know he doesn't like that so much. So you don't get to choose Mystic Dispersion, but as this game continues to advance and evolve and grow, just being able to shut off the buffs before they even happen is obviously a big deal. It's becoming a big deal. It's a design space Kabam is working into. Rintrah is a champion who I was not able to pull, but I definitely want to get him out of that next 6-star featured crystal. He's one of my most wanted champions, and that's why. All right, let's continue to move on down. We'll get to the next champion with the microphone. And I don't think we have any. I'm trying to go slow enough so people can kind of take a look at this. Remember, again, though, the spreadsheet is linked in the description, so you can always go there, take a look at it for yourself there if we went a little too fast. Now we're going to get to premium tier. So, like, still very worthy of rank 3. If you're like, dude, I want to rank 3 my Wong, I'll be like, go for it. Well, hold on, though. Let's make sure, why are you doing it? Do you already have your other bases covered? You know, that sort of thing. Make sure you understand the champion. Wong's an interesting one for me. He's someone who I hope that in 2 or 3 or 4 months, once more of the community has gotten him, and more time has gone by in the game, we have more nodes and interactions and defenders come in, that we're like, this is what he's for, right? He doesn't work with buffs in the way we're used to a lot of Mystics working. I know a lot of time's gone by, so we're starting to see this more. You know, America Chavez, like I just talked about, Rintrah, that sort of thing. He's not nullifying, he's not stagger, he's not fate sealing, those sorts of things. But if you're in a certain, I can't remember what he calls it, like his mode or whatever, he can get beefed up significantly whenever a buff is triggered. There is a bit of a ramp to him, but once you get that ramp going, you are good to go with the damage. He can heal tremendously. DLL even had a bit of an analogy to like a Mystic Cersei, in that once you get them going, you kind of just get into these really nice loops. The damage really does get going. So I like Wong. He's fun. We've seen a lot of nice damage coming off of him, and the healing, like I said. And then he's got that really unique utility of just getting rid of immortality and indestructible buffs. Got to be the buffs. So that's unique too. Pretty cool. I like him. He's someone who I'm hoping in a couple months, though, we've discovered a lot more uses for him because the game's given us more. I think that's very, very possible with him. Could easily see him ending up in that super premium, maybe top shelf. We'll have to see how the game evolves. Moving on down to our first buff champion of the month is Deadpool X-Force. I'm just going to address this now, kind of group him and Yondu together for this portion. Is you know, not every buff is going to be amazing. And I'm not going to say like Magneto, right? Because I feel like that's almost like building a bit of a straw man, or it's at least like, yeah, of course, no one's saying they all need to be as good as Magneto, dude. No one didn't say that. Way to go. You won the argument. What I'm saying is they're not all going to be someone that an advanced roster wants to rank up and use. And that's okay. In fact, I think it's good. One of the biggest things from the buff program is to take the pain away from pulling these champions, or, and so many of you have pointed this out, is the game is intended to be fun. Maybe you just love Deadpool X-Force. It's one of your favorite characters from comics or the MCU, right? Well, now you can play him because the bleed damage is good. We're not going to say it's not, and you can get it going. It can get up actually quite high. He's just a bit complex. The animations and the skipping, it's really cool. I think it fits with the character. The animation department like literally seems to always knock it out of the park here for Kabam. But he's a little complex to play. At least like he takes a little bit of a higher skill level. The damage and the not a ton of utility doesn't make it so that I think advanced rosters want to rank him to play. But then you also got to keep in mind, he's one of the best synergies for Omega Red, who, as you can see, I have as the 3rd best mutant, but really it could be the best. Really, that's just a whole tier there. So I can see why they didn't just make him this outrageous, overpowered champion. He's someone, if you pull him and you want to rank him, go for it. He's going to do good things for you. You can dive into that champion. He's got all of those taunts. He seems very, very tanky, right? Like, kind of fits the Deadpool I guess feeling or theme or something like that. He can take a beating and keep going. In general, I like him. I'm happy with the buff. I have him in premium. You want to rank him up and take him to rank 3? Go for it. You're going to be able to do things with him. He's just not as good or as widely usable as the others. That's it. All right, we'll move on to the next buff champion here in Yondu. You can change a couple of the words around, but it's almost going to be the exact same thing. In this case, he does ramp up. He being Yondu can ramp up considerably. I think we're seeing that. We've seen it in longer fights. The damage can get quite good. He's way better than he used to be. Maybe you love Yondu. He's a very, at least from the MCU, very lovable character, right? And you want to play him, go for it. Anyone that has a heal block, especially one that I think can get up to 20 seconds, if I remember it correctly off the top of my head, that's a nice long heal block. That's great. You're going to find uses for it. If you need a champion that has that nice heal block and can ramp up a little bit and some of the other utilities that he has, go for it. I mean, he got better against mutants in general as mutants are getting more and more prowess, as that's becoming more and more of a thing. Like, I think this makes sense. He's a quality buff. It's not painful to pull him anymore. If you want to use him, you can rank him up, you can do it, and you're not going to feel like you paid a price for ranking up a champion that you just happen to enjoy playing. I'm really happy with it. Of course, I like buffs or the champions even better than that, but I get it. I like it. I'm happy with it. And then the next champion we have the microphone on here is MCoC. I have that on because DLL just released one of his like amazing guides. In fact, I'll have to update the spreadsheet here. I realize I don't have the hyperlink or the link to the playlist here. So you can go and watch this. MCoC is a really good champion. DLL's guides, he always knocks it out of the park. Check that out. You can see what this guy does. DLL is even using him. People are using him in battlegrounds, showing you how quickly he can do his damage, all that hitting into the block, the incinerates, the whole thing. If you've got a MCoC and you're just not sure why people like him, or you really do like him and you want to know more about him, go check out that guide. It is fantastic. It's awesome. All right, now let's go ahead and move on through. And I don't think there's any other champions who've had their rankings adjusted. There was just no reason for it, but now we've got to the call. They got a job to do, or it's like, this is about where I have the my whole thing is like the art of taking fun seriously, but you got to make sure you're having fun the next day too, right? So you want to rank up these champions, go for it. They're probably going to get some stuff done for you, especially if it's like a very specific thing. America Chavez is one of my favorite examples for. I actually have her at rank 3 in a relatively high sig because I like the character. I like her from a show I watch with my kids and from the comics themselves. And I kind of liked her in Doctor Strange. We'll see. I enjoy it. Well, I don't want to spoil anything for some folks who maybe haven't seen it yet. But that's why I ranked her. She hasn't helped my roster in any way, shape, or form. Now that Battlegrounds is coming out, she is kind of helping it. I just didn't know about Battlegrounds when I initially did all of that. And if you really need to reverse ability power gain, she's going to do that for you. She can do that very, very well. So these are champions who serve a specific purpose. It's about the baseline though, for I think like maybe they don't have to necessarily need a buff for you to want to put your resources into them, and you won't regret it a couple days later. So go ahead and take a look at them as we go down. And then, you know what, guys, I am going to address it. There's no screenshot. There's no screenshot this time. And I'll tell you why. It's for one very, very specific reason. It takes forever to update. Here, I'll even go over to it. It takes me forever to update the screenshot because one champion then means I have to move all of these things around. And I know that sounds like, oh, poor guy, you got to click some buttons. It ends up being a ton, and then trying to figure out how to still make it fit into this. I just don't know how to do it. If one of you knows a very simple way, you're maybe very proficient in Google Docs, let me know. I am happy and willing to update that for you. But like I said, the spreadsheet is linked in the description of the video. You can always go to it and just check it out right then and there. I know that's a lot of you told me that's why you want the screenshot, so you can just have quick access to it. And then I think what we're going to start doing is maybe like a week or two after the video goes live. I'm not really sure on the timeline. This is just going to be in one of the channels, probably like important info, something like that, on my Discord server. I love that server. So many of you have made that an amazing community and full of help and knowledge and these sorts of things. And this will just be linked, so that way people want to, they can just go straight to there, check it out, see the updates, get a quick snapshot on what myself and the MCoC Illuminati thinks of a champion's worthiness, and then go from there. Thank you so much for watching. Always learn so much from your comment on this video. I really appreciate it. Hope you're having a great one. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.